Alright, hi everybody. Welcome to my first One Piece video. My name is Miller, and I'm going to be ranking the East Blue Saga of One Piece. I thought it would be a good way to get my ideas out to everyone in the community, and just kind of go from there. I have been a big One Piece fan since high school, which was, 10 years ago now. And I've been following it weekly since Whole Cake Island, and I am currently caught up to the manga. I'm going to try to keep this spoiler-free as best as I can, as some of the more recent things might have shed some interesting light on these earlier arcs of the story. But, yeah, I guess let's just get right into this with Romance Dawn. So, the start of the story, Luffy's backstory, where he meets Shanks, has the whole ordeal at Happy's bar with Makino there, and where Higema the mountain bandit comes down, trashes the place, pours booze all over Shanks. That kind of iconic moment where Shanks is, just kind of taking it and kind of trying to show Luffy that there's more important things than just a little bit of booze and food getting thrown on you. It really comes up later when Luffy gets captured, kind of to get back at Shanks. Higema and his mountain bandits come down and try to attack the town a bit. Shanks gets word of this and goes and takes care of it. You have the iconic scene again of Lucky Roo just straight up capping a dude, and that's always crazy. Going towards the whole thing with the Lord of the Coast and Shanks losing his arm and trying to give that kind of bravery and stuff to Luffy. Very hard hitting. Moving on to giving him the straw hat and telling him to give it back to him when he is a great pirate. All of this just culminating into what makes Luffy what he is and why he wants to be king of the pirates. In conjunction with Luffy's backstory is Shellstown, where we meet Zoro, the first mate of the One Piece crew, and, he's given his life to Luffy, basically. He is wanting to be the greatest swordsman in the entire world, and he wants to do that for his captain. That's getting a little bit into some further arcs, but this is where Zoro is introduced. He gets put up on the post by Helm Meppo and Captain Morgan, Captain Axe Hand Morgan, where Luffy finds him, and he has the interaction with the little girl. Can't quite remember her name, but with the onigiri, and Zoro's been strung up there for, I think it's like 30 days or some such. And the little girl comes and tries to give him the onigiri, and it gets thrown down in the dirt because of Helmeppo being the biggest just jerkwad ever. Like, I will admit later he has gotten a bit better, But here, the beginning Helmeppo is just awful. Like 1000% awful. And that leads into Luffy breaking into the Shellstown Marine base, actually. He gets Zoro's swords, and they have a big fight out in the yard with Morgan and all of the Marines, and this kind of sets out a little bit of Luffy's infamy. It brings his grandfather Garp into the story, and a cover story, actually, but that's for later. I guess just to rank Romance Dawn itself, being the beginning of the story and everything, I can't quite put it S tier. I feel like S tier is something that is solely for just like one thing, maybe two if it's like complete tie. So I'm going to put Romance Dawn in A tier. I think it's really good. It fleshes out Luffy's backstory, tells about Zoro and everything, and Nami is kind of introduced a little bit. She's more into this next one, which is Orangetown. Zoro and Luffy are have left Shellstown, and Nami is with them, if I remember correctly, but they are headed. They don't know where they're going, obviously. But Orangetown is Buggy. Buggy's great. He is the to begin with, you assume he's just kind of the classic gag character to give some laughs, everything. Later on, we learn about his whole backstory with Shanks and all of that, which gets hinted at during this story arc. He sees Luffy's straw hat and actually impales it with these swords and everything. Because it reminds him of Shanks. But Luffy actually gets thrown in a cage, and that's not great. Zoro gets stabbed. They have a big old fight with Kabaji and Richie the Lion, and what's the other guy on his crew? I'm drawing a blank right now. But it introduces Buggy and kind of shows other pirates, and Buggy has actually taken over this Orangetown. And honestly, probably the best part of the arc is Chow Chow, I believe. Chow Chow the dog. Oh man, Chow Chow. He'll bring tears to your eyes. They're waiting for his owner to come back to the pet store, and then the mayor eventually takes over and everything. It's just super heartwarming, super sweet. I am going to put Orangetown in B tier. I think it's decent. It's a good kind of continuation of the story, and kind of does introduce Nami a little bit, and a villain, I guess we'll call Buggy. He is a villain, and just kind of goes from there and sets some interesting seeds for future things to come. Moving on, we have Syrup Village. This is where Usopp gets introduced, and the whole ordeal with Kuro and the mansion the girl in the mansion. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now on her name, but um, sorry, I'm trying to look her up here because she's very important to this story. Kaya, yes. Name just wasn't coming to me for some reason. But Kaya, she lives out there in the mansion, and Kuro is her butler, or at least that's what he is portraying to be. He has this big, old, huge, convoluted plan. He's Kuro 1,000 plans. To come in and take over the mansion and all the wealth from Kaya. Her parents are dead. He wants to kill her. It's a whole thing. It's very, very convoluted, to be frank. But like I said, this story arc introduces Usopp, which who doesn't love Usopp? He is kind of the everyman, as people like to say. Him and his slingshot. I know some people don't like him because of his cowardness, but that just kind of makes him one of us, I guess. It's kind of like if you or me were thrown into the One Piece universe, and that's Usopp. That's always kind of how I view the character, anyways. But Syrup Village as a whole, it also has Django. Django's an interesting guy with the hypnotism and everything. He has an interesting story with joining the Marines and everything, and that's all through a bit of a cover arc or a cover story. But Syrup Village has those kids, Pepper, Onion, and Carrot, I think. They weren't really memorable, to be honest. I will admit this one is probably going in C tier. It is definitely the lowest of all of the East Blue, I would say. It's not bad, but it has its low points. Kuro himself is the plan is weird. Like I said, the fight is interesting. It's on that hill, and excuse me, it's on that hill where they fight the pirates coming up everything. I mean, it is kind of cool when Luffy fights Kuro and they go into the whole kind of speedy dance type thing. Ends up knocking him out with Gomu Gomu Bell. That's a good fight, but it's the lowest one for me, unfortunately. Moving on to Baratier for Sanji. So, Sanji's great. I know. I was gonna say that he's my favorite Straw Hat from this original, but him or Zoro. It's close, and I know that feud obviously, but Sanji's great. Introduces him and his original backstory. Talks about how he was stranded on that rock with Zeph. Zeph had to eat his own leg. It's crazy. One of the sadder backstories, in my opinion, from the East Blue. Second only to the one we're coming up to next. But the actual story arc itself, this is where Don Krieg comes and attacks the Baratier. He has come back from the Grand Line and is needing food. This is where Sanji fights Pearl and Gil. I believe that's his name. But this really is to kind of show how kind Sanji is. He's always going to feed someone that is hungry. And no, Jin, not Gil, Jin. Apologies. So a lot of people love Gin. He made it out of this and kind of got away, I guess. It's a lot. Gin is a fan favorite for how Sanji treated him and the way that the ending went when Don Krieg just basically went against his own men and went with the whole poison gas and bombed everything. It was just Don Krieg's an awful human being. The fight with Don Krieg between him and Luffy is great, in my opinion. The whole beginning with the shield of spikes and Luffy just punches right through that, and it's great. The whole ending with going up into the air and slamming him down into the deck of the ship, and Luffy falls in the water, and Sanji has to go save him. Amazing. And then you have the whole other thing with Zoro and Mihawk. Amazing. The way that sets up future things and how Zoro declares himself to help Luffy, and that he wants to be the greatest swordsman, to be at the side of the king of the pirates. It's a lot, man. It's amazing. And then you have the whole thing with Nami leaving and not deserting, but stealing the ship and going back home to Kokoyashi, and that whole ordeal leading into the next arc with Arlong, and that whole thing. It's just a lot. This one's A tier. I don't think I can really say much more about Baratie. Easy A. Alright. Arlong Park. I'm not going to waste much time. S tier. I think it's pretty clear. Nami's backstory. The whole scene with her crying in the street, stabbing at her arm, crying, sobbing, and Luffy just comes up, puts the hat on her, and tells her that he'll help her, because she is her friend. She is her nakama. She is his nakama, and he will do anything for them. The whole story with Arlong and Kokoyashi is just awful. I know we kind of learned later on Arlong has his reasons. Well, that's what he says. But he put Nami and that whole village, that whole town, through living hell. And he got exactly what he deserved when Luffy basically dropped a building onto him. 5-6 story pagoda? Like, the thing was massive. turning Nami into a slave, the whole city, or town, I guess, what he made her do with drawing the maps, branding a young child like that, making her, forcing her to choose to turn against her loved ones. Like, it's just awful. So, it's S tier. I need to go much more into it than that. Next up is Logtown, the kind of conclusion to East Blue before the crew heads out to the Grand Line. Luffy has gotten his navigator, his cook. He's still missing a couple that he wanted. He's still looking for that musician. But they have made it to Logtown, the beginning and end, the place where Gol D. Roger was executed. This is a really good arc. It introduces Smoker. It brings back Buggy and his crew. Also Alvida, who I guess I forgot to mention during Romance Dawn. She has now gotten the devil fruit, the slip fruit, and looks completely different. But it has the whole interaction with Luffy and Buggy up there on the scaffolding on the execution block where Gold Roger himself was executed. And the lightning bolt coming and crashing down. It's a great scene. Now I know most of this is filler, which is kind of which in the anime. Daddy Masterson with Usopp was actually supposed to be in the manga. Oda just didn't have time to it. I believe he said this in like an SBS or an interview or something. I'm not entirely sure. But a lot of like the shopping, Sanji's cooking fight or cooking duel with that girl with like the fiery hair and everything. Yeah, I loved that, to be honest. I thought it was really good. In the manga, he just I think he just bought the, what was it? Whale tuna or something like that. He just like bought it at the market, where in the anime they changed it to where he won it from this competition. You have the whole thing with Zoro. Now this is canon, obviously. When he goes to Ippon Matsu's sword shop, and he is able to get the new swords that he needs from Mihawk destroying his other ones. He obviously still has his original that he got from Kuina's father. He's not getting rid of that. This is actually where he learns how important that sword is, and that it is actually a graded sword. I believe it is an Owazamono. It is the second highest grade of sword. There is 21 of them, I believe. And this is where he is able to get Yubashiri, it's a pretty good sword. He has it for a while. It actually has a terrible ending. But he picks up Yubashiri here to go with the Wado Ichimonji, which he's obviously going to have for the whole story. That thing ain't going nowhere. That is going to be Zoro's sword. So he's got the Wado. He has Yubashiri here. And he also picks up the first edition of oh goodness, the name is leaving me. The first cursed blade that he gets, the Kitetsu blade. That's right. He gets the third Kitetsu blade, and he has the whole thing in the shop with it. He throws it up and it spins and almost cuts his arm off, but just barely misses and goes into the sword. And Ippon Matsu is like, I've never seen such a brash swordsman and everything, and just gives him the damn Yubashiri, which is just crazy. His wife comes in and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "If I know I can't live my dream or whatever, but at least this man can do it." And he gives his family heirloom, the Yubashiri, over to Zoro to wield. So Zoro did not have enough money for the Yubashiri. Obviously, it was apparently he only had enough for the bargain bin, and he found the Katetsu in there. So he eventually leaves with back to his 3 swords now, and he runs into I guess you could say is a familiar face, but runs into a marine girl and has a bit of a interesting interaction there. She looks just like Kuina, and that's all he can think about. But I love that whole thing, and then goes. I'm not sure if this was in the manga or not, but it's definitely in the anime, where she sends him to the Marine headquarters in town to mop and sweep everything to pay her back. I think for breaking her glasses, I believe. But eventually, Zoro gets out of that, and he meets up with kind of the rest of the crew, learns what's going on with Luffy, and they kind of attack the square. The whole lightning bolt happens, the rain starts, the mysterious man appears, and Luffy is able to kind of get away from Smoker at the end there. And he is able to get with his crew and head on out to the Grand Line, all kind of thanks to this crazy, crazy storm. I'm going to put it B. I don't think it's quite as good as Romance Dawn and Baratier. It's got its high notes. It's not very long. I think B is a good place. Alright, well, that is my East Blue Saga ranking of One Piece. I am planning on doing the whole story. I'm going to be breaking it up into tiers. The next one is probably going to be Whiskey Peak, or well, Reverse Mountain through like Skypiea would be my guess, because you have Skypiea, Whiskey Peak, Little Garden, Drum Island, Alabasta. I mean, that's already 5 there. No, I think we can squeeze in Jaya and Skypiea. That would make 7. And then the other half of Paradise would be another video. Alright, well, I will get going, I guess. Bye, everybody.